The small girl's question snapped the beautiful woman back to reality. She quickly wiped her tears that drenched her whole face. As Yu Yang watched her face, which was a total mess, he felt warm tears pooling in his eyes. He took in a deep breath and calmed his emotions, then tried to help her wipe her tears. The beautiful woman didn't let him help her and moved his hands away. She then hurriedly ran out of the room. Yu Yang stared at her disappearing back for a long while. "Xiao Sangij, why was Mom crying on the floor?" the small girl asked curiously, but she didn't really pursue the matter further. Instead, she raised the big pinwheel in her hands and said, "Look, isn't my pinwheel pretty? I bought it on a street market. There are even sweet rock candies selling on the streets, but Mom didn't buy it for me. Xiao Sangij, I want to learn how to ride a horse. My pinwheel would only turn faster if I was riding the horse fast enough." Yu Yang sweated. Why is this girl so mischievous? Riding horse? Could it be that pitiful guy who drowned himself always took her for a ride? He shouldn't let the small girl found out that he was not the same person. But he also couldn't let her ride a horse. What would happen if she fell? But he didn't have to reject the small girl's request, he just needed to play with her. Yu Yang picked the girl up, raised her up high in the air and bring her down again, making her giggle with happiness. After a few times of that, the small girl had already forgotten her request and leapt happily into his arms. It was a small task for Yu Yang to subdue the little girl. Outside the door, the beautiful woman who had washed her tears away had returned. Yu Yang quickly put the small girl down. But the small girl didn't let go of her small hands, still wanting to be carried in his arms. The beautiful woman then pulled the small girl away from Yu Yang and said happily, "Sanner, quick, let Xin Yang see your inherent skill and guardian spirit. Sanner, I've said it before that you would definitely succeed. This is so good. After working hard for so many years, you have finally succeeded. Sanner, you have finally become an outstanding person. Quick, open the summoning grimoire and let Xin Yang look. I'm so excited to see it. Inherent skill? Guardian spirit beast?" Yu Yang's head was filled with questions once again, just like the time when he was stuffed with knowledge by the mysterious light. Earlier, he had understood one thing. He had been transported to another dimension. This is not Earth, this is another world. In this world, the soaring dragon continent, there were a group of people that were called the Rankers. Rankers were strong powerhouses that had succeeded in contracting grimoires. Many of these talented Rankers had come from the renowned clans and households that had held their reputations for thousands of years. They are the 3 royal households, 4 major houses and 4 great sects. Aside from the 3 royal households that would cultivate the next emperor, there were 4 major houses of Feng, Wind, Shui, Snow, Yu, Earth, and Yen, Fire. There were also the mysterious 4 great sects. The 4 great sects gathered many strong Rankers to pursue the heaven's way, and didn't usually concern themselves with the things in the mortal world. But they would send their disciples out from the mountains once every 3 years, as their final training. Amongst the many Rankers, besides the people from the royal households and the 4 major houses, there are only a handful of talents who managed to make a contract with a very special kind of treasure, the summoning grimoire. The superiority of a summoning grimoire depended on its user. Everyone would have the chance to reach the pinnacle of all Rankers. No, actually there was very little chance to reach the pinnacle of Rankers. Yu Yang found out that in this soaring dragon continent, it's almost purely a summoner's world. There were no magic nor inner energy, only summons. Summoning skills in this continent could be anything. There were elements summoning skills that were like magic, and also strengthening type summoning skills that would increase your strength like inner energy. There were also beast spirit summoning type. Anyway, summoning skills in this world were as normal as students going to school. There were even schools specializing in teaching summoning. Although almost everyone can summon, not everyone can possess a summoning grimoire. On the contrary, a grimoire user could be hardly seen in this world. Taking an analogy, a summoning grimoire user is like the 1 in 100 million students who could enter Harvard or Cambridge. Everyone wanted to have a grimoire, but it was the privilege of a handful of talents. When making a contract with a summoning grimoire, every grimoire user would try to awaken an inherent skill, sleeping within their bodies. They would also obtain a guardian spirit most suitable for the user. Okay, but I'm not really sure what's my inherent skill. Yu Yang was also curious with the knowledge in his mind. What inherent skill could the summoning grimoire actually awakened? He mouthed a prayer and hoped it wasn't instant noodles, AV, games, lacy lingeries or see-through censored related stuff, otherwise he'd be finished. Please don't let it be any tier-related inherent skill, otherwise he'll be dead if the beautiful woman saw it. When Yu Yang turned his summoning grimoire, he realized that the first page was his own portrait. He looked rather handsome. Below it, his status was written, Level 1 Beginner, Apprentice. Under the apprentice words, there was a simple line of rank description. Apprentice, you are the weakest existence in this world, but with hard work, as a grimoire user, you still have hope to become stronger. Yu Yang cringed the moment he saw that. The weakest existence are ants, okay? No matter how weak he was still stronger than ants. Such a belittling description made him feel really bad. Skipping over the rank description, the next half page described his inherent skill. According to the knowledge passed to Yu Yang by the grimoire, everyone had their own unique inherent skill. Only a handful of people would have an identical inherent skill, but almost everyone's inherent skills were totally different. Of course, this might be because there were not many people who had a summoning grimoire. The moment he saw his inherent skill, Yu Yang was flabbergasted. His inherent skill was not instant noodle, AV movie or games, but it was an inherent skill that caused Yu Yang to sweat in nervousness. To be precise, it was an unusual, very rarely seen, very mysterious, very jealousy-inducing twin-star inherent skill. Originally, everyone's inherent skill will appear as a picture below the summoner's portrait, but Yu Yang's inherent skill picture was 2 pictures joined into one. On the left was a mysterious figure that could be vaguely recognized as Yu Yang's figure. On the right was a shadow of a person's side view, hidden in darkness. If there wasn't another figure to compare, it would be difficult to recognize that it was Yu Yang. The features on his face weren't clear, other than a wolf-like eyes, there were no other recognizable face characteristics. The whole picture was dark and blurry, other than the eyes that were shining like a star, there existed no other light. The thing that drove Yu Yang mad was the twin-star inherent skills description. Counterfeit, you are as cunning as a fox and as treacherous as a poisonous snake. You are like an usurping chameleon who live under a camouflage. You are a facade, nobody can see through your heart. Your inherent skill will increase with your level. Your inherent skill current level is 1. Divine vision, you have eagle-like eyes and sage-like reactions. You are like a death god that sees through living things' soul. You have an all-seeing vision that sees through the world, so you'll be immune to illusionary or fake debuffs. Your inherent skill will increase with your level. Your inherent skill current level is 1. Whoa, Yu Yang almost fell to the ground. Was he that cunning and treacherous? Although he liked to watch censored adult videos and would try to use his eyes to see through the pixels, this skill was something that all perverts can do. When it comes to vision, Yu Yang didn't think that he was actually that good, because usually when actresses wore different clothes and put on their makeup, other than Sora Aoi, Akiho Yoshizawa and Yuma Asami, he wouldn't recognize anyone else. Was this even counted as divine vision? As for counterfeit, it was even harder to explain. He don't even know how to apply makeup and so on, and at the most, he would just lie a little. Furthermore, who had not lied before? Even a kid would lie if his parents asked whether he had watched a sex tape. This twin star inherent skill. Yu Yang was so depressed that he wanted to hide in a corner and draw circles on the ground. Sanner, it's okay if you don't have an inherent skill. As long as you work hard, I believe that you could be a strong ranker like your father. The beautiful woman comforted Yu Yang as her eyes turned red, her voice choked with emotions. Ah. Yu Yang was bewildered. He obviously had the twin star inherent skill. Why did she said that there was none? Could it be that she couldn't see my inherent skill? Could this be the effect of the counterfeit skill? So it is a passive skill? It couldn't be. Yu Yang jumped and pointed at the picture on the summoning grimoire. He gulped nervously as he asked, Can't you see the picture here? You really couldn't see the words written here? Hearing Yu Yang's question, the beautiful woman was startled. From her point of view, below Sanner's portrait, the summoning grimoire only showed a blank space. There were not even a single picture or words. But Sanner did not look like he was lying. Could it be that his inherent skill was actually active? An inherent skill that she couldn't see? Sanner, don't lie to Xin Yang. Do you really have an inherent skill? Xin Yang can't see it. What kind of inherent skill is it? The beautiful woman felt like her heart was at her throat and her eyes almost popping out as she nervously held Yu Yang's hands. It's camouflage. My inherent skill is camouflage. Yu Yang rubbed the back of his head as he told a lie. He realized that he was really as cunning as a fox. It's good if you really have an inherent skill. Oh my, I was so scared. The beautiful woman was relieved. Her pale hands patted her chest as she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Every grimoire user would have awakened their own inherent skill. If Sanner didn't have it, then he would definitely be looked down upon and be labeled as a good-for-nothing. No matter what inherent skill it was fine as long as you had one. Sanner's unseen, camouflage, inherent skill could even be an extremely good inherent skill. The beautiful woman happily reached out her hands and patted Yu Yang's head. Sanner, Xin Yang is really happy for you. With this camouflage, inherent skill, you would definitely be successful in the future. The small girl, watching her mother patting Yu Yang's head, also reached out her soft, white and small hands towards his head. The moment she saw her causing trouble, the beautiful woman quickly put her down from her arms. The beautiful woman calmed her heart and then signaled Yu Yang to turn the page of his summoning grimoire. Turn over to the next page. Sanner, look at your guardian beast. Schwanger, stay still, let your older brother turn the page. Be good, stand here beside me, okay? Is this mist? It's all white. Is your guardian beast a mist-type beast? Not bad. Although element-type beasts take a long time to grow, they are really strong. Although in the beginning it is not as strong as the strengthening type and fighting type beasts, at a later stage, they would become much stronger. As long as it is not the special type beast, then it's okay. Sanner, your guardian beast is really good. So there's element type, strengthening type, fighting type, and special type beasts. The beautiful woman happily clapped her hands, smiling excitedly. Yu Yang was dumbfounded instead. Because what he saw was definitely not a white fog, but a dark shadow of a figure. A shadow that looked exactly like his shadow. Below the shadow, there were a few lines of description. It was the description of his guardian beast. Phantom Shadow, Special Type, Level 1. You can control your own shadow. Each shadow will have half of your strength. Shadows can be joined together to increase their size. Yu Yang slowly put his hands on the phantom shadow, picture as a golden light began to glow underneath his fingers. Is that so? At the same time, a knowledge about summoning the guardian beast flashed across his mind. In the soaring dragon continent, as long as you train hard, you would still be able to learn 1 or 2 summoning skills or make a contract with beasts, even if you were a normal warrior. But because they don't have a summoning grimoire, the number of beasts they could summon is limited. Normally, a warrior could only make a contract with 1 beast. Only a handful of talented warriors might be able to make a contract with 2. However, a grimoire user would not have a limit in making contracts. Every page in the summoning grimoire was open for a beast's contract until all pages were full. However, the best thing about a summoning grimoire was not the limit in making contracts, but allowing a grimoire user to have his own guardian beast. This type of guardian beasts were not the same as the normal beasts. They would never die nor betray their master. Guardian beasts would also grow alongside its master, there was no need for other conditions to be met. As long as the user's power increased, or that the summoning grimoire level increased, the guardian beast would also be stronger. Yu Yang had actually wanted to summon a shadow, to see what it looked like. But what confused him was that he couldn't summon them out. From the knowledge in his memories, the reason that the summoning failed was because his mana wasn't enough. Yu Yang could also feel it in his heart that summoning his phantom shadow would need at least 10 times as much mana as the normal beasts. What's wrong? The beautiful woman looked at Yu Yang's surprised expression and asked with concern, what happened? It's nothing. My mana is not enough to summon my guardian beast right now. Yu Yang shook his head as a thought flashed across his mind. This guardian beast phantom shadow should be kept a secret. Even if he could summon it later on, he shouldn't summon it in front of others that easily. That beast should remain his secret weapon. Sanner, don't worry. Summoning an element-type beasts require quite a lot of mana, it's normal if you can't summon it in the beginning. Your guardian beasts will definitely help you as you grow. The beautiful woman quickly comforted Yu Yang. Yes, I will train hard so that I could summon it quickly. Yu Yang said that, but he had a different thought in his heart. Through the knowledge in his memories, he knew the normal mana required for summoning beasts. If it was simply summoning a normal element-type beast, Yu Yang was confident that he could definitely summon them. However, his own phantom shadow had required 10 times more mana than a normal beast. It was simply too high. Right now it was only level 1, if it leveled up more, he was afraid that the mana requirement will be even more. However, this was not really a bad thing, because the more mana it required, the more powerful his summoned guardian beast would be. For example, Yu Yang's guardian beast phantom shadow, that required 10 times more mana compared to normal beasts, would have a power difference like a rifle compared to an arrow. Although both weapons are long-ranged, they had a great difference in power. Through the knowledge in his memory, Yu Yang also found out that the biggest difference between his phantom shadow and other people's guardian beasts was not its power. It's the summoning duration. A normal warrior's beast summon would disappear within 1 hour every time they were summoned. On the other hand, talented warriors might last up to 2 to 3 hours. And then, there were a handful of talents who could manage to summon for up to 5 hours. But this type of people were extremely rare. Yu Yang touched the picture of Phantom Shadow on his grimoire. Although he could not summon the beast, he could still feel the shadow's power. He could feel its power resonating within his heart. After closely feeling the shadow, he was surprised to find out that his shadow could last up to 10 days if it was summoned. With Chow, similar to WTF, Yu Yang was suddenly nervous. This secret must never be known by others. Otherwise he could be regarded as a monster and kidnapped to be experimented on in a laboratory. Xiao Sangij, what does Wu Chao mean? The little girl blinked her curious doe eyes and asked innocently. Ah, that is a special ability of an extremely strong mythical beast. It is extremely strong. When unleashed, it would intimidate the enemies. It could even cause the enemy to get crazy, demented, beat their chest wildly, grab people's hair, stomp their feet, bang their heads on the walls, and other sorts of stuff mentally challenged people will do. This ability will be more effective against ladies, but it won't be effective against people who have really thick skins or high mental defense. You know, this kind mythical beast usually lived in the depths of a desert. They love to eat grasses and bask under the sun. They would especially love to lie, in a deep troughs, chow, and eat the grasses that grew there. Such a beast, why is it so powerful then? It is extremely powerful. Other than the peerless mythical beasts such as the celestial crab, it won't lose to anyone. It can even be on par with mythical beasts such as the Jacques lizard and the elegant butterfly. Alright, I will only explain so much, it's not good if we talk too much into detail. Yu Yang explained tirelessly to the curious little girl. The beautiful woman had thought that this boy had been so nervous that he accidentally cursed in the beginning. But after watching him explaining sincerely and decently, she had almost thought that there were really such a weirdly named mythical beast in this world. Furthermore, what he said had made sense. Of course, she also knew that mythical beasts were not that easy to summon. Even top summoners could only manage to summon a few of these mythical beasts, let alone a level 1 apprentice. Thus such a high ambition is intolerable. She quickly warned Yu Yang, Sanner, all these mythical beasts are all-powerful beasts, so they won't make a contract with a weak summoner. Don't think about them now. Train your summoning abilities first and work hard to increase your mana. It may be too late this year, but next year, your uncle and I will send you to a school. You should work hard. I know that you'll be successful in the future. Yes, yes. Yu Yang wiped off his cold sweat. Luckily she didn't hear him curse, otherwise he would receive a slap across his mouth. After he sent away the beautiful woman who was in good mood and the small girl who was reluctant to leave, Yu Yang could finally sigh a breath of relief. He had managed to hide his identity. She didn't recognize him as fake goods. However, what will happen to him in the future?